How you doing? Today's video is called Courage Creates Consistency. It's about building courage in order for you to build the best life that you can possibly live. This is the 100 videos in 100 days challenge, December through March, and the goal is to try and encourage as many people as we can to step across that line and to stop drinking alcohol. So if you can share these videos, then please do, because it just helps out a lot of other people. Let's get into the video today. Maya Angelou said that courage is the most important of the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently, right? So I love that quote, because it really does put the value of courage up there at the top. I mean, I've got a hierarchy of values that I use in my life, of what I personally value. And courage is one of those things that is up the top. It's one of the toughest things that you can do, because it's not to do the things that you find easy to do. It's to do the things that you find hard to do. That's where the courage comes in. And this was something that stopping drinking alcohol I put off for so many years. And I put off even looking at myself in a different way for so many different years. And it was that one little thing that happened on that beach in Guatemala, in Alicante, in 2012, that really changed my mind and changed the way that I looked at things. So, it's just the way things happen sometimes, but it can be the smallest thing that can give you the courage. So it takes courage to leave behind a crutch. The reason I say that is because I always say, look, it's the simplest thing to stop drinking alcohol. All you have to do is you make the decision, and the decision is a binary decision. So it's either you put the alcohol into your mouth, or you don't put the alcohol into your mouth. Simple. But, and here's the big one, this is the rub, it takes a bloody long time before you can get over the fear of what's going to happen afterwards, because you've got no return into that crutch. Right? You've got no return into that, whatever it is that the tool that you're using alcohol for. You can't use alcohol for that as that tool anymore. You've got to find something else, right? I think a lot of people, when they approach this and they're coming up to it, it's easy to say to yourself, oh, I'm going to quit drinking alcohol in 30 days, right? But when the days start coming up closer and closer and closer, a lot of people will get through the first day or the second day, but then they let their fear overcome them, and they won't carry on. And I'm not talking about courage as being something which is something like the old superheroes and stuff like that. That's not the type of courage that I've got, strong men going out and doing strong men things, whatever, it's not that type of courage. It's the courage to face into your own fears. It's the courage to step over and go, I don't care what happens. This is what I'm going to do. What I'm doing at the moment, what I have been doing, is not working. So there has to be something better. And it's the courage to see that for yourself and to open up your eyes to that. That's a massive thing to do, because once you do that, once you understand that alcohol is bad for you, it's very, very, very difficult to go back to understanding. You can't, it's like you burnt your bridges. You can't go back to not thinking that again. It's the same thing. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone. Staying inside of your comfort zone is what we've been doing with the alcohol, because as soon as you feel uncomfortable, you can have a drink. And that's the shit. That's what is the vicious cycle. It's what keeps you going round and round and round in this never-ending spiral out of control. Because unless you break it out of it, unless you step outside of it, you don't have to step outside. There's a great picture. I think I saw it on one of Jordan Peterson's lectures, where there was a guy, he was actually stepping out of reality and looking into the unknown, and he had his head stuck out, just his head. There was the bubble of reality. And that reminded me of the comfort zone, because most of him was still in reality, still inside his bubble, inside his comfort zone. And he just stuck his head out just to have a peek. And that's what you have to do at the beginning, is just stick your head out. Have a look outside. Once you have that crutch and you still continue to use that crutch, there is no chance of ever falling. There's no chance of ever failing because you're doing the same boring shit. If you're doing something over and over and over again, what chance have you got of failing at anything apart from what the alcohol is doing to you? Physically, mentally, what it's doing to your life. So it does take courage to move into that unknown. There is a huge fear of the unknown that we have as human beings, as just as sentient animals. There's a huge fear of the unknown, of step around that corner, I don't know what the hell is around there, And this is hardwired into us from day dot, from before we were even swinging at the trees. So, but it's only by stepping outside of that comfort zone that you really can, you see the fear for what it is. One of the things that stops people from doing it also is the fear of failure. What happens if I fail? Other people have a fear of success, believe it or not. What happens if I succeed at this? What happens if I succeed at not drinking alcohol anymore? Then that means I can never drink alcohol anymore, It's a conundrum. It takes courage. It takes commitment. It takes responsibility. It takes courage to build those things, to really say to yourself, right, that's it, I'm 100% committed. And I take 100% responsibility for myself. It takes courage to create a new map for yourself of your new life, of what you want to achieve in your life. You've got to break yourself down, literally. You've got to disintegrate who you are, the person that you think you are, before you can reintegrate or integrate new things into your life. Before you can build up things, you've got to break them down. And that is the thing. But for me, that's why I was saying to you right at the beginning, it's a simple thing to stop drinking alcohol because there is no other choice. There's only two choices that you have. Put it into your mouth or don't. That's over. Once you stop doing that, once you make the decision and you stick to it, then you can move on. Then you can start to author your own life, right? You've got the blank canvas in front of you, the blank pages that you're writing onto. And you can do it in your own terms. What you want, you can think about it, and it might not come to you in a flash. It might not come to you in a week or a month or 6 months or a year. It might take you 5 years to really discover what it is that you want to do. It's taken me a long time before I discovered what I want to do in so many different areas of my life. In V2, we go through a lot of different stuff. We go through 12 different categories of life, from your social life, your kids, your family, your health, your wealth, your career, all of those things. And each of those things is a balancing act. I don't think you can get to the best possible version of yourself in one of those things and ignore the other ones because, like I said, each one balances it out. So you've got to take them as a whole and you've got to make a balance of them in order to get to that best possible version of yourself. If you go for just one thing, if you say to yourself, well, I'm going to look after my wealth, but not really, I haven't got the time to look after my health too much, then, everyone can see the downside of that, but there's downsides to the other parts as well, even the spiritual side of yourself. I think you need to have that. You need to have a balancing act in all of those things. It's tough work, right? But it's worth it. It's like, it's the reason I don't work for somebody else is because when I go out and I put an effort in and I do the things that I want to do, I and my family get the benefit of that, not somebody else, right? And I'm not giving out for people who are working for anyone else. That's completely up to you. Some people like that. I don't. For me, every hour that I spend reading books is something that is worth every second. The work that you put into yourself, the work that you put into your future self, to planning and to building that future life for yourself. These are the seconds that count. This is the time that counts for you. Time is precious. The clock is ticking away. All I can do is look back. If I ever see myself wasting time, and I'm not talking about, there's a difference between wasting time and just chilling and relaxing and having that as a balance as well. That's part of the life. But talking about values again, right? Going back to your values, that's the key thing. Courage is one of the top values that you should have. Looking after yourself, looking at yourself as an individual should be up there at the top, because when your life is over, that's it. Your world is over. I'm not saying you can't look after other people, but you have to look after yourself before you can look after other people. All right. Getting too far on this one today anyway, so I'm going to call it a quits. If you want help, we've got a 1 hour course. It's less than an hour. Quick start preparation to help you to really see clearly why you're doing this, and get you to understand why you're doing this, to understand where you are now, where you're going, and also to have the confidence that you can do this, to gain the courage, to help you see the courage in yourself. Everyone's got it. You just have to find it and bring it up. So the link down below for that is habitsv2.com/prep, www on the front of it. If you want to live the best version of yourself, if you want to live the best life that you can live, then you've got to have the courage to break down the old and build the new. The biggest regrets that people have on their deathbeds, they don't regret stuff that's not done, this shit that's not done in their lives. They don't regret the fact that they haven't got a bigger house, or the fact that they haven't got a bigger car, or they haven't got a bigger bank account. The things that people regret are the fact that they didn't focus themselves on their happiness and the happiness of their family. They didn't spend more time with their family and their friends. The fact that they didn't spend more time living to their own true selves, or to developing their own true selves, to try and see where their own true selves are. Your true self doesn't just come about by magic and you see it there. It's like, oh, it's uncovered. This is something that you have to work towards. Again, tough work, but it's worth it. Take care. Speak to you in the next video. Onwards and upwards.